Hello, I'm Jonah Guelzo. Throughout the last few years, I've had the privilege to meet and work alongside some incredibly talented creative minds, serving the film industry, both mainstream and independent alike. In this week's Road highlight, I got to speak with producer-director Marc Hutchins. Beginning his journey as an extra in War of the Worlds, he's now producer and director of multiple indie feature films, while simultaneously building a thriving community of indie filmmakers in Southwest Virginia.
Since the age of 8, I really wanted to get into production, but it was into my 30s before I began to pursue production. My road in was through script writing. It was something that I could do at little to no cost. I had a computer, I got a book, learned how to write scripts. After a few years of doing that, I started doing some commercial work, but my passion has always been independent film and television. My first big break was having a chance to be on a film called The Potential Inside. It was a film shot with a local colleague, and I came on as a producer. Really just filled a multitude of roles, getting my feet wet, learning about the industry from a grassroots indie standpoint. That opened other opportunities for me to get into films as a gaffer, as location management. The one thing that I tend to gravitate toward is the producing aspect. I love producing because I love the idea of taking all the small pieces and bringing them together for one purpose. When people ask me questions about independent filmmaking, is that I encourage them to know everything. I encourage them to know about writing, to know about editing, to know about shooting. You need to be able to take on a multitude of roles. In Hollywood, a production designer may just oversee a variety of different crafts. But as a production designer in independent film, you may be responsible for doing makeup and wardrobe and set design because you don't have the budget or the resources to be able to hire for each one of those crafts. I also suggest that they learn a trade. It's good to be a jack of all trades, but you need to be marketable in some way. If you're not marketable, then there's nothing that you can bring to a set that's unique with your colleagues that you're going to work with. Independent film is a mixed blessing. In one way, with the change in the technology, with the affordability of digital cameras, anybody can be a filmmaker. At the same time, though, everyone's a filmmaker. Not everyone is necessarily qualified to do any type of entertainment production. The trick is to be continually innovative, coming up with new ideas and actually developing a script. So when you then approach someone, you have something to put in front of them to say, hey, here's something we can work on, here's something we can do. Independent film takes money and a market. You need money, of course, for the crew and the cast, etc. But without a market, you've got no way to take that money that you spent and turn it into a profitable resource. Personally, if I work with someone where there's already a market, there's a greater chance of return in revenue. I've decided to go after the nonprofit organizations, partner with them to do independent narrative films. The way to both educate and entertain their supporters. It brings profitability back to the nonprofit organization while using my skills as an independent filmmaker. I'm often asked the question about the best film school or the best film college. Personally, I'm self-taught. I just spent 10 years fully invested in this industry through reading, blogs, collaborating, just for the sake of learning and gaining information and gaining those connections. Independent film is a lifelong investment. If you're not continually fully invested, then it's not something you're ever going to have a chance to be successful in. Especially starting off, you need to be willing to work for free. Give 110% of yourself, working, learning, being open. I would rather have that volunteer, 100% eager, than to have someone who comes on a set who's cocky and thinks they know it all. We need someone who's pliable. Really look for opportunities to help out even beyond the role that you've been brought on to do. If you've been brought on to work with the sound guy and you have a shot that's MOS and nothing's happening, and then you can step over there and help out with lighting or help haul some equipment, that speaks volume about your willingness to be a team player. Working with other people who may be a classmate, and maybe the guy across the street, and maybe someone just has a similar interest. You never know where they're going to end up or what opportunities they're going to be able to open up for you down the road. Build relationships where you don't burn bridges, you excel, you strengthen one another, you sharpen each other as independent filmmakers.